Hello, sorry I'm late with the video this week. Here it is Sunday, and I usually supposed to come with one on Friday, but I'm under the weather. I'm catching a summer cold, so I basically missed my deadline. But at least I'm here, better late than never, right? All right, so I wanted to talk about this week. I'm kind of getting away from the nouns and verbs and adjectives because it doesn't seem like those are very popular. I mean, I'm still going to do them for the class, but I think in between, instead of just doing them week to week and week, I'll talk a bit about writing. So, if you want to go into the mechanics of it, if you're an author and you want to understand more about the art of building the sentence, then that series will be out. But I'm not going to do it like back to back. So instead, what I want to talk about this week is how I organize my novels. Now, I'm very, very, very close to having my fourth novel in this series right here. This one right back. I mean, this is book one. It's good. It's a 5-book series with one prequel. I've already got the prequel is already out. The first 3 books are out. This is the 4th book, and then the 5th book I haven't started writing quite yet. I've outlined it, but it's called Undead Inheritance. It's the 4th book, and it's this close from being finished. It's actually slated to be released everywhere on February 1st, 2023. So here is what I wanted to show how I outline stuff. Now, what I do is I have redundancies because one of the things that I learned early on as an early author is that if you don't keep things, you don't keep redundant copies of stuff, that if you lose something, it can be detrimental. I mean, horrible. It's actually happened to me before. And nowadays, it doesn't happen as much, but I have one copy in the internal hard drive, I have one copy in my external hard drive, and then I have one copy I keep on a flash drive, a thumb drive, that I just keep on the side. And I have 2 of those in case one of them goes out. One of them doesn't work anymore, then I have the other one. Because when you're talking about 100,000 word fantasy novel, which is what mine are, my series, those of you who are fans and have read it, the Shadows of the First Trine, the one that starts off with the Harrowing Path, other than the prequel, which is 50,000 words, all of the books are 100,000 words. That's my cutoff is 100,000. I think that's pretty. It's a pretty big book. It looks about this size. This is about how big it is. It's pretty thick. Um, and I think that's pretty good size for a fantasy. That's about the size I read when I was young and started reading fantasy novels. Started with the Bulgariad, and if you look at the Bulgariad, there's 5 books, and they're about that size. Bulgariad from David Eddings and Lee Eddings, and I didn't copy that format. I just my books ended up being 5 books. Originally, it was going to be 6, but I think I could tell the story and get everything done in 5. If I can, I will make the 6th book. But to be honest, I don't even have a cover for the 6th book. I do have a cover, which I'm about to reveal right now for Undead Inheritance. This is the cover for it, and I get feedback back and forth about covers. I really wanted this to have some battle going on in the background, but I wanted to have the lich because there's a lot of antagonism out in my epic fantasy, but the lich is one of the big ones, especially in this book. What's called an Undead Inheritance. But anyway, let's get into the minutia, or I don't know why I like the word minutia, but I do. Let's get into the meat of it. So what I do is I keep individual chapters, and you're going to see some chapter names here, but it's not going to give away any spoilers, so don't worry about that. I keep those individual chapters so that when I get to them, it's easier for me to edit in chunks, in smaller chunks. Like I can look at chapter 11 here, and one of the things that I like about it is I can, in each individual chapter, because I write on 2 different things. I write on Scrivener, and I also write in Microsoft Word. And sometimes Microsoft Word is easier for me than Scrivener or any other writing program that I've tried. I do both, but the reason why I stick with Microsoft Office and Word quite a bit is because of the OneDrive. I have several different computers. I have the one here in my office, and then I have one in my bedroom and stuff like that. So if an inspiration hits and I want to bring up the story, it's all on my OneDrive basically, and I can just pull it right up on any computer that I'm on. And I can kind of do that with Scrivener too, to be honest. I've kind of got it set up to where I can do that as well. But so I guess I really have no excuse. Scrivener is very good for organization. It has a lot more features than Microsoft Office Word does. But I guess I started this series on Microsoft Word, so I just kind of kept it there. Now, my Tournament of Mages, the one that's in this book, this poster right here, it starts off with Red Mage. That one I do write in Scrivener. So I write that series in Scrivener, and this series, since it's been around for so long, and I've had it for so long, I tend to write it in Microsoft Word. But anyway, when I'm doing each individual chapter, it allows me to see how many words each chapter is. And I like to keep my chapters around 2,000 words. Sometimes they go over. Sometimes you just can't do it in 2,000. Sometimes it's they're 3,000 words. Sometimes they're, but I never make them below 17,000. What am I saying? I mean 1,700, and I mean 2,000 words. Okay, let me say it. Let me start that part again. I like my chapters to be around 2,000 words. I don't like my chapters to be under 1,700 words. Sometimes my chapters end up being 3,000 to 3,500 words. People ask me about chapter length all the time, and the thing about chapter length is if you can tell the story in one, you have a scene, not tell the story, but if you tell the scene in one chapter, you can have more than one scene in a chapter. But if you have one area, how do I explain this? How do I explain how I do this? All right, if I have a couple of characters, in epic fantasy, you tend to have a lot of characters that are doing different things and are all over your world. There's my world's right here. And so you kind of move from person to person. And sometimes you'll move from protagonist to antagonist. And in epic fantasy, when you do that, what happens is you might have a character arc or a chapter arc of one character for like 4, 5, 6, 7 chapters. And then the next 4, 5, 6, 7 chapters will be a different character or a different area. So each chapter has encapsulates like a little mini story or a part of the arc. And it depends on what I'm telling in that arc that indicates how long that chapter is going to be. Sometimes the chapters are pretty small, sometimes they're longer. There's no really set length. Like I said, I try to keep them over 1,700 words, and I try to keep them under 4,000. And so anywhere in between there, if I can get a chapter in there, that's what I usually do. That makes my chapters end up being around for a book. It ends up being around 36 to 40 chapters, anywhere from 35 to 40 chapters for 100,000 word book. Now, I follow when I'm writing my books, novelettes, short stories, novelettes, novella, novel. I tend to follow the typical word count. Now, a lot of authors, if you're trying to be an inspiring author out there, we just don't go by pages. We go by word count. And so when you're talking about word count, one of the things that I keep in mind is it's kind of a standardized, it's not really standardized. There's no really standardized word count for like short stories and novellas and novelettes and stuff like that. But there is kind of if you Google it, there is kind of a sort of a standard, and that's kind of what I follow. This is the one I follow. A short story is anything under 17,500 words. Up to 17,500 words is a short story. A short story usually encapsulates like one plot device and a couple of characters. It usually focuses on one aspect. It's kind of like a chapter in that aspect. Okay, a novelette is anywhere from 17,500 words up to 30,000 words in my estimation, okay, or guesstimation. 30,000 words to 50,000 words is a novella. All right, 50,000 plus is a novel. All right, fantasy novels tend to be anywhere probably 100,000 plus. Mine come in right at 100,000 because, like I said, I think that's a good length. It's a good length for me to write, and I like that. My Tournament of Mages novels are about 50,000 each because each one of them is about a different mage, a different time period. Well, not different time period, but different mage with a different magic ability. Like the red mage is blood magic, the blue mage is elemental, the black mage is necromancy, the green mage is all nature magic and stuff like that. So I tell the story of each one of those mages, and then the seventh book is going to be the actual battle that they have to go through. It's kind of like the Hunger Games in a way, but it's with mages. So that one's kind of different. It works a little different than my epic fantasy. My epic fantasy is, like it says, it's epic. It's got a lot of stuff going on, a lot of characters. So in the epic fantasy, since it's so big and it's so much stuff, I have to organize it this way. And this is the best way I can find for me. Now, it might not work for you. You know, your mileage may vary. You hear that a lot. It may not work for you, but it works well for me. So this is what I do is you see a lot of stuff here. This ebook here with the 300 DPI dots per inch. This is my covers. I keep them in the same folder. I keep a folder in here with the individual chapters because, like I said, I like to write within the have a separate document for each chapter. That way I can kind of keep an eye on the word count. It makes it a lot easier for me to do that way. Then I have what's called I call it my edit file. Now my edit file, this is the one I'll send to the editor. This is the one that'll be edited. And I'm not going to show any spoilers. You'll see maybe some chapter names here, but maybe not. I don't know. We'll see. The way I like to write in Word is I have a cover page here. It's just mine in the prologue. What I like to do is I like to go to View. This is another reason why I like to use Word. Now you can do this in Scrivener too, so don't get me wrong, it does it too. But I like to hit View, and then you hit Navigation Pane, and it has all my chapters here over to the side. So that way I can just click on chapter 23 or chapter 29, and it brings me right to it, chapter 31. Now as you can see, this book is done. It's coming in at 93,642. So what I'm doing is I'm in the middle of the editing phase. It's kind of an editing phase, kind of a second draft phase, because the writing process, the way it works, is you have your brainstorming is the first part of the writing process is brainstorming. Then it's write the first draft, then edit, revise, write the second. When you edit, revise, you get the second draft. The second draft you proofread. Proofreading and edit and revising are different because proofreading is just dotting the T's, crossing the T's, dotting the I's, getting everything polished up. Then you have the third draft, and the third draft is the one you send to beta readers and things like that. It's pretty much complete. And then your final draft is after you get all the feedback from beta readers and you tweak everything that you need to tweak, and you get all the copies back from the editors, and if you have a proofreader, you get it back from the proofreader, and then you have the final version, and that's the one you publish. All right, so this one is in the stage where I'm revising and editing stage, so it's in the second draft format. So I am right about here in chapter 22. So I've gone over all of this, all these chapters, and I'm going chapter by chapter, and that's another reason why I use the other files. And I go over and I smooth out things. I get rid of filter words and things like that, so that I end up trimming down my 100,000 to about 93 or so. It is what it is right now. And what I'll do is I'll add back in stuff, or I'll go back in. There's some places in the novel that need to be reworked or that need more information. I look for that stuff in the second draft. If there's some that needs more information, I will add some more information in, and it'll come out to a little bit over 100,000 words in the end. But when I go in, I trim out all the filter words and everything. It does take down the word count quite a bit. Filter words are things like using was and were too much, or if you want a video on filter words, just let me know in the comments, and I'll make a list of filter words and show you what I try to eliminate from my writing. Some people have their own filter words, like nodded. Your characters nod all the time. Yes, he nodded, or he nodded this, or he nodded that. And they go through and they take all those out, or they look at each instance of it and make sure that it fits in the work, and then they eliminate it. There's other words like seemed. Seemed is a big one. I had an English professor when I was learning how to write. And she said, if it seems like a duck, it is a duck, which I've always remembered that. If it seems like a duck, it is a duck. If it seems like it's smoke, it is smoke. So the word seemed needs to go. Suddenly is another big filter word that you're looking for to make sure you eliminate it, because everything happens suddenly. So it doesn't happen like over time. Everything's like suddenly he realized that he was being eaten by a shark. It's suddenly it's sudden. But anyway, so I have a word tracker here. I really just started the word tracker about, I don't know, 3/4 into the book. So my word tracker, I'm probably not going to bring it up right now because it only has like 6 entries because I didn't start it until I had like 66,000 words already. But I started this word tracker, and it does help a lot. Well, I'll go ahead and show it, I guess. Let me make sure let me reshare so I'll make sure that it's sharing the correct information here. All right. So like I said, I started off with 66,000 words, but and I can put this in the description too if you want, or just let me know in the chat. I mean let me know in the comments below if you want this. But this is a program you can find these all over the internet. You can Google it and you can find them. This tracker is a good one because it has the start, what you started off with, what you wrote, your daily goal, what you need to write to reach your goal for the time period. This is set at like 1 month or something, or 100,000 words. But like I said, I didn't start it off until I was at 66,000. So, but anyway, if you get down here, it tells you how many you need to write to complete it and so forth. Like I said, if you see, there's a lot of days in here I didn't do anything. I didn't put anything in there. These are days that I was doing other stuff or writing other books, and so I didn't keep. I mean, I kept good track, but I didn't write like I should have. I knew how much time I had until the 23rd, because it doesn't come out till the 1st, and I knew, if you plan stuff, which I've got my planner here, my bullet journal with all my little stuff in it, tells me, and my calendars, when I'm going to do stuff. So you keep good track of stuff, then you know exactly how much time you got. And I knew what other books I could work on. And being an independent author, an indie author, you have a lot of social media, and I've been working with a lot. I've been trying to transfer, and I'll probably make a video about this later on. I've been trying to transfer my novels from aggregates or aggregators to direct. Like, for example, you have an aggregator that you put your novel in, and they'll send it out to several different places like Barnes and Noble and Kobo and so forth. And I've started, but they take like 10% of your sales. The aggregator does, on top of whatever the Barnes and Noble or the Kobo or whatever it takes. So they take it off that. So if say Barnes and Noble takes 30%, I'm just making this up. I don't know exactly. I can't remember how much they take exactly. Say they take 30%. Well, you get another 10% taken off from your aggregator. So you're only getting like 60% instead of 40. But if you go directly to the press, like to Barnes and Noble Press, then you get whatever they give you at Barnes and Noble, and you don't have to go through the middleman. So the only problem with that is when you're wide like I am, and I don't have exclusivity with KDP, Kindle Direct Publishing. The only problem with this is that an aggregator makes it very convenient. You're paying for that convenience because it makes it very convenient for you to be able to put your book in, and they distribute it to these different places. And I still use it for other places that I can't submit my book directly to. But places like Barnes and Noble and Kobo and Google Play, things like that, I'm putting my books directly to them so that I can get money. The only problem is, like I said, you have to keep track of, instead of having one place where everything is, you have a bunch of places. So you need basically something like a book like this, so you can keep track of everything so that you know what's going on. There are programs out there like Book Tracker that will bring all the sales in from all the different platforms. I have not used it because I don't know anything about it. I kind of Googled it. I couldn't really find it. So I'll look for that later. But anyway, that's how I organize my books. I'm just about done with the 4th book. It's going to be out February 1st. I mean, when I say just about done, I'm probably further along than. I mean, I've just got a couple of tweaks left to do on it, and everything should come in this week. If it doesn't, it'll still be out February 1st. But anyway, book 5 will probably be out. I haven't really written it yet, so it's outlined, so it'll probably be out in the middle of the year or so, probably about June or July, maybe August. And in the meantime, I'm going to be working on Green Mage, which is the next book in the Tournament of Mages. I'm going to get that finished up and get it done. It's partially written already, because I'm one of those kind of authors, I can work on more than one thing at once. I'm able to do that. I'm able to switch my brain to work on. I can write the epic fantasy for a little bit, then I can switch my brain and work on the other one in the same day for a little bit. And so I do that occasionally, and so I have written part of Green Mage. I just need to get it finished. And then I have another pen name that I've launched. I don't know if I want to tell the name. The reason why I named it, I launched this other one is because I don't want to have any restrictions. Sometimes with epic fantasy and with my the books that I write now, I want it to be family friendly. I'm a teacher and I teach online, so I want my students to be able to read it, and I want families to be okay with it, and not have so I don't have hardly any curse words or anything like that in it. But I made the other pen name because there's some things I want to write that would not fit well with my Cleave Bourbon audience. So I made the other pen name so I can basically put curse words in and be, as bad as I want to be and write stuff, it has things like demons and things like that, stuff that I would never put in my family friendly writing. It's just to kind of let me cut loose, and it's I call it my Rick and Morty persona, because it has kind of that those books kind of have a Rick and Morty feel to them, where it's just kind of balls to the wall, do whatever I want kind of thing. And so it's very freeing, but I don't really want to give that name yet here, because I'm just establishing it. I'm just now getting it off the ground. There's no books published under it yet. I've written one that's almost done that I want to put under it and under that name. And I don't want there to be crossover or confusion for my Cleave Bourbon audience. I don't want them to go over there thinking that it's going to be a Cleave Bourbon type book when it's really not. It's really different. It's something that it's a lot more adult. Let's put it that way. My Cleave Bourbon persona with the Harrowing Path and Tournament of Mages and stuff are family friendly. I don't think that my other stuff is family friendly. But anyway, I'll bring it up at some other point, especially after I launch it and get it going and write a book or two in it, get them launched. Then I'll probably bring it up here and I'll let you know and let people know. But I just wanted to separate it because I didn't want people to, I didn't want some of my students that love my Cleave Bourbon to go to that book and then go, oh my gosh, he's insane, because I can write some pretty insane stuff. One of them is about a vampire, that is basically a jerk, and things like that. Just fun stuff that I want to have fun with. But anyway, I'm rambling too much now. We're going on. So that's how I outline novels. What I'll probably do in the next video or so is I'll probably continue on with some of the mechanics, like I did with the commas that seem to be pretty popular with everybody. And eventually I'll get back to the verbs and the adjectives and adverbs and get back to the actual academic stuff to help people construct sentences, because I might have some students that come here occasionally and want to freshen up on that kind of stuff. But so I'm going to kind of alternate between the writing and the academic teacher. And so the next few videos will probably just be writing and having to do with indie publishing and being an indie author. And then occasionally I'll stick in my my academic videos with verbs and adjectives and sentence construction and all that kind of stuff. So anyway, please like and subscribe. If you stuck around this far and you're still there, it doesn't take much to hit that like button or subscribe button. It helps out the channel, and I'm trying to start to grow this thing and get it going, and I'm still terrible at it. And these videos are my first few videos, which I'm sure in a couple of years I'll look back at and this will be so cringeworthy. It's already cringeworthy now, but it'll be like really cringeworthy later. So anyway, bye bye.